The following podcast contains adult themes, graphic sexual content, strong language, alcohol and drug references, and some infrequent violence. Everything you need for a wild ride.
Also, please do remember that this is a work of fiction. Please do not come for us. We're not here to upset you. We're just having a bit of fun. So if any of the characters are familiar to you, or you find similarities with real people or their music, just know that they're all lightly inspired by many of our favorite bands, and they are completely fictional. So let us not get upset about this. Hello and welcome back to Unruly Confessions. We are already on episode 6. Madness.
Like, how did we get here already?
I know, it's exciting.
That went fast.
So this episode, episode 6, will be called Herding Cats. And you will understand very shortly what that's about. But before we get there, I am one of your hosts, Nicole. And this is the other host,
Arabella. All right, it's that time, people. Time for me to do my crazy catch-ups on what was last episode. Aquadoo. So, Nicole woke up and completely forgot where she was and the fact that she had the best night of her life so far before it came crashing back to her and she went, oh yeah! Then she tried to take a sneaky little pic of Mike sleeping because who wouldn't? She saw missed calls and messages from me and then instantly forgot about them. Thank you very much. Mike is awake and he tells her what to do as punishment for coming without permission. So she joins the rest of the band for breakfast and immediately super pisses off Carter by having a little spat with him where she called him old. That was not the best moment of our life. Literally bad idea. She was super sorry super quickly as Mike appeared and reprimanded her and then got amused as she dommed herself. Right, and then she was sent to the bus. Jay was sent after her to complete her first punishment, which was super embarrassing, but he was so lovely, so that was all good. She was banished to the front of the bus, thanks to her spat with Carter. And then, as she chats with the bus driver, she's finally called back for drinking games with the water. Aquadoo. Many revelations were had about sexual experiences, and Nicole got overwhelmed again and went to hide in her bunk. But before that, she fell flat on her face, as she always does, making it seem like she was drunk, even though she wasn't. And that's where it takes us up to episode 6, Herding Cats.
Herding Cats.
Bada bing, bada boom.
I just want to say, I didn't call Carter old. Not exactly. I suppose
yes,
it was slightly implied. Okay, I did. I just remembered I did. Okay.
Implied.
I tried to defend myself badly. Okay. So now, let's herd some cats. I felt the wheels of the bus hit gravel as we arrived at the Paris-Bercy Arena at around 3 o'clock. After my moment of overwhelm, I accidentally fell asleep and was just waking up from my nap. I could see the side of the big stadium. I could see a huge white wall where we were parked behind it. Melissa walked onto the bus the moment the bus came to a standstill. Hey everyone, she called to the back of the bus. Rendezvous with the venue stage manager in 10 minutes, then we'll meet in the green room in half an hour. I was glad to see how professional and punctual they were. They came quickly up the hallway and followed Melissa out of the bus. Mike grabbed my arm as he passed and dragged me after him.
Always necessary.
Yeah. We hurried over the gravel to the black door at the back of the stadium, where we met up with Andrew Stevens, Billy, and the rest of the security team. We went through the black door that led us down a hallway. The hallway spread into a big, spacious area that was already swarming with technical teams, assistants, managers, and guests who had clearance. The crew are going straight to the stage to finish setting up and then do the sound check once everything's ready, Andrew informed the band. Turning left down another short hallway, I saw the back of the stage. We'll meet the stage manager, Andrew started, then glanced at Melissa. Sophie. Yes, Sophie, Andrew continued. We'll meet her in the left wings of the stage in 5 minutes. Where's Jay? At his words, I realized that Jason wasn't with the group. Jason! Andrew called down the hallway. Yo! Jason came jogging over from where he was talking to a tiny blonde girl wearing nothing but a crop top and cut-off jeans. Stop messing around, Andrew told him. You'll have time for that later. Sorry, Chief. He grinned and saluted Andrew. It's herding cats with these two, Billy teased, nodding at Jason and me.
So true.
Andrew just shook his head and repeated what he had just said about meeting with the stage manager. To the left of the stage, we were met by the stage manager. She was a French woman of about 35. She was wearing a tight-fitting red button-up top and a black barrel skirt that hugged her lean thighs. Juicy. She was wearing shiny black heels that clicked as she walked. She came to a standstill in front of us with a tablet. Bonjour, she said and flashed a smile. I am Sophie, the head stage manager tonight. Welcome to Paris-Bercy. I hope your trip was pleasant. She stood with her hand outstretched to Andrew. He shook her hand politely and greeted her in French. Bless his heart.
I know.
This is the band, Melissa told Sophie, waving her hand towards the band. Noah, Mike, Zonda, Jason, and Carter. It's lovely to meet you in person, Andrew said politely. Thank you for all your hard work. You're very welcome, Mr. Stevens. Let me show you around, Sophie offered, and we started walking back around the stage. She pointed out the bar and toilets before showing the way to the green room. We followed her away from the stage down another long hallway. Bonjour, Sophie suddenly greeted me. I'm now sure who everyone is except for you. Bonjour, Sophie, I greeted her back. Then I continued in French. I'm a guest of the band. What's your name? Nicole. Andrew took a step forward, frowning at me. I didn't know you spoke French. Well, I live in France. I didn't know that either, Andrew smiled. There's still a lot of tour left. Are you someone's partner? She asked in French. No, I replied. I'm sibling? I laughed. Oh, definitely not. I'm not sure what I would say I am.
No.
I'm not sure what I would say I am. I'm just with the band. She nodded. I think I understand, she smiled. Are you with many bands? No, just this one. So you are single, she asked. Not exactly. Shame, she winked. Oh. Could you two not speak French? Mike complained. If you prefer, I responded and stopped speaking at all. Sophie led us into a luxurious green room with a dressing room attached. It had off-white walls and black leather sofas. It looked classy. The guys sat down on the sofas. Sophie presented the green room to the band, showing them that everything was done according to their rider. If you need anything else or anything last minute, do not hesitate to ask, Sophie told everyone. Any contact details you need are in the book on the table. You can always send Nicole to come find me in my office. She winked at me again and left with a smile. The moment she left the room with Andrew and Billy, the band all started commenting on how pretty she was. Guys, I hate to break this to you, I said, loving that I could break it to them. But I don't think she swings your way. What do you mean? Carter asked sourly. Like no one, like he's like, I don't understand what that means. Everyone swings my way.
Everybody. Literally, there is not a single human ever.
I'm 90% sure she's lesbian, I told them. How could you know? Noah asked me curiously. Besides the fact that she didn't seem at all flustered in the presence of 5 of the hottest men on the planet, I spelled out for them. She could just be very professional, Mike suggested. Besides that, she was very flirty with me and winked at me twice, I told him proudly. She could be bi, Zonder added. Speaking of bi, Mike said seriously, you, he pointed at me. I don't care who flirts with you. No sleeping with any crew, ours or theirs. I rolled my eyes. I know the rules, even though I think they're dumb. We abide by those rules, so you abide by those rules. Is the crew rule because one of you slept with the Miller brothers? I asked tongue in cheek. Find something to do, Mike said over the laughter of the rest of the band. And over the laughter of Bella, obviously.
Obviously, me too, yeah.
Sorry, I'm not sure I heard you correctly. I smiled. Did you say do something or someone? If you don't stop this instant, Mike threatened, I will tie you to a chair in the corner of the room. Oh, I chuckled. And nothing, he said seriously. You'll sit there by yourself until the show's over. Okay. I relented. Shutting up now. I sat down on the sofa next to Noah. So, what happens now? We wait, Noah said, until it's time to warm up. And what do you usually do? Depends, Jason said. Chat, eat, hydrate, play music, whatever. Speaking of hydrating, I said, could I have like 3 liters of water? Oh gosh, that was American as fuck, but I'll be fine.
Excessive much?
Sorry. Yeah, 3 liters of water, please. Cold water in the fridge, Noah said helpfully. Room temperature next to it. Didn't you have enough water on the bus? Jason asked as I walked over to the fridge. Yes, but I'm prone to urine infections when I have a lot of sex, I answered bluntly, so I need to drink more water than usual. Weakling, Carter said. I was about to retort, but Mike glowered at me. I drank the water, then asked hopefully, so on that note, can I go to the toilet and then maybe have a look around? Yes, Mike agreed. But do not bother anyone who's working and don't tell anyone what you're doing here. Of course, agreement and all that, I said. I have self-control. Sure, he said, unconvinced. Yeah. Thanks, Bella. Seriously, Thank you, Bella.
I know you far too well.
I do have self-control. I just don't have it around the band.
Or other people.
What? No. Come on now. Let's be serious. Okay, not around everybody, but around people when it matters.
Some people.
I have it when it matters. I left the room. Before we continue this, I left the room quickly and walked back up the hallway to the big area where everyone was busy setting up for the show. I peered around the wings. There were a couple of people still setting the tech up on the stage or tweaking something last minute. One of the band's songs were playing over the speakers. I noted 4 dancers on the stage, clearly doing a last-minute rehearsal before the show. I watched them curiously until I recognized the dancer in the middle, second from the right of the stage. Holy shit! I exclaimed out loud. It was my best friend Bella!
Ta-da!
Why wouldn't she tell me? She knows I'm in France! I spoke to her only 3 days ago as she couldn't make it to the festival due to her dancing career, and here she is on the stage rehearsing for the band's gig. The song ended, and the 4 dancers towel-dried their faces and started walking off the stage. Bella was exiting stage right, so I started running around the back of the stage to get to her before she left. As I came around the side, she accepted some water from the crew in the wings and took a sip. Bella! I shouted, running towards her. She spat the water onto the floor in surprise.
Nikki, what the fuck?
When I reached her, we hugged each other for a good half a minute. What the hell are you doing here? I demanded of her.
I'm working. What the hell are you doing here?
I guess you could say sort of working.
What does that mean?
I'll explain, I said. Do you have some time?
Yeah, I'm not on until halfway through the set.
Yeah, about that. You could have told me your gig was dancing for the fucking band.
I tried to. I've been trying to tell you for the last 2 days, but all the messages I sent you just delivered with 0 replies. Your phone just rang and rang or went straight to voicemail. I nearly sent out a search and rescue team for you, but then I thought you've probably lost your phone.
Oh shit. Sorry, I'm really not paying much attention to my phone.
So whose bloody fault is it then? They gave me a spare backstage pass and I wanted to give it to you, but no answer. For days!
I laughed. Don't worry, that won't be necessary.
Clearly. It's so good to see you. But how the hell did you manage to get backstage?
It's kind of a long story, and 10 to 1, you're not going to believe me? I told her.
Try me,
she said.
But if it's going to be a long story, give me 15 minutes to go and find out what time exactly I should be where, and then we can go grab a quick drink at the backstage bar.
Sounds perfect, I told her. I'll wait for you here. She started walking in the other direction, and when she disappeared, I sat down against the wall to wait. Hey, who are you? A male voice asked suddenly. I looked up to see a young guy of about 25, dressed in black jeans and a Nirvana t-shirt. I could see his lanyard around his neck, but it was inside his t-shirt. He was tall and lean with straight ash blonde hair and blue eyes. I'm Nicole, I replied. Okay, he frowned. And who's Nicole? I jumped up. Look, I've got a backstage pass. I showed him the pass around my neck. See? All access. So that makes you a girlfriend of the band? Unwilling to answer, I shook my head. Who are you? Timothy Carter, he said and held out his hand. Assistant stage manager. Nice to meet you, I said, shaking his hand. Want a tour of the stage? He offered. I'm actually waiting for my friend, I apologized. Rain check? It'll take 5 minutes. Sure. I picked up on his English accent. I followed him onto the stage and stared out over the auditorium. It was going to be a big show at 20,000 capacity. I wished I could perform for such a big audience one day. I walked to the edge of the stage and stared out, pretending that everyone was cheering for me at that moment. Over here.
Nicole.
Thanks, Bella.
Always.
Over here, Timothy called. I walked over to where he was standing a little further upstage. So what are you doing here? He asked. I know you're not crew. How do you know that? Wrong pass, he smiled. I saw Jacob watching me curiously from the wings. So what are you doing here? He cried. I'm touring with the band. A groupie? He asked, looking up at me from where he was crouched on the floor. No, I replied defensively. Do those even exist anymore? You'd be surprised, he responded. It's just that very few people surprise me. What do you mean? Well, he stuffed his hands in his pocket. When there's a pretty girl hanging around with the band, the chances are she's sleeping with them. People are predictable. He winked at me. I'm 33, I said, a little offended by his demeaning attitude. Hardly a girl, and I am here for very respectable reasons. He smiled. Okay.
Overstatement much.
Very respectable reasons. He smiled. That's good news. So what do you do here then? I'm helping with album promotion. Awesome, he said. But how much do they need? I mean, it's the band. Even Beyonce uses marketing. I reminded him, starting to feel a little bit uncomfortable. I'm just assisting their manager, I invented wildly. So how long have you been doing this? Stage managing? He asked, raising his eyebrows. About 3 years. I studied it before. Do you like it? Sure, he said. But what I really want to do is be head stage manager. Is there a lot of money in this kind of stuff? I make 60 a year on average. 60,000? I demanded. Yep. He briefly checked the back of the amps. Okay. Is that Xander's? I asked, just to make conversation, and pointing towards the familiar black, white, and red striped guitar. Of course I knew it was. Shouldn't you know that, promo girl? He asked, looking at me from where he was crouched on the floor. I do know, I admitted. I just didn't know what to say. Are you busy right now? He asked. I'm going to have a drink with my best friend in the backstage bar, I told him. Let's meet her there. I don't know, I hesitated. She said to wait on the side of the stage. Look, she'll figure it out, he pressed. Come on. The backstage bar had only 3 people in it. It took us no time at all to find a seat, far left nearest the windows. The server appeared within seconds. How may I serve you? He asked in French. A glass of white wine, please, I replied in French. And, I looked at Timothy, a beer. And a beer, I told the server. The server left to get our drinks. French? Timothy asked. Yep, I said. I live here. And you, England? He smiled. Yeah, from Essex, but I studied in London and now mostly work there. Or, you know, on the road. I'm originally from South Africa, I told him. I used to live in England, a bit everywhere, but for a long time in Loughton. Where in London do you live now? Finchley. Good area, I approved. Lots of great gigs available there. So you're a musician, he said, smiling as though he'd finally figured me out. I nodded. And writer, and also often teacher. And I don't really understand what you're doing here, he said, frowning. I shrugged. Just think of the possibilities that'll open up for me if I've got assisted on tour with a band on my CV. He laughed. Fair enough. Especially if my employer's a fan. The server brought out drinks. Merci, I told him. Anything else? No, thank you. When the server left, Timothy asked, So how is it? What? He rolled his eyes. Touring with the band. Intimidating? What are they like? Loud? I said, looking down at my glass of wine. I can imagine. I don't know how much I can tell you before I get in trouble, I said. I mean, I don't know you at all. They do a background check on their crew, he said, if that helps. I watched Timothy for a long time. I believed him. There was no way this guy was anything but a kid on a lucky break. Well, Noah was a real nice guy, honestly, I said. That's the basis, right? Right, I said. Carter as well, we don't get on. Why not? I sighed. He thinks I'm bad news for the band. I said simply. Well, they must be distracted, Timothy said with a wink. I can see where he's coming from. No, I said seriously. Really, you can't. He dislikes me and won't let me forget it. Wow, he said. So Carter's a dick. I took a breath. A bit like, at least to me, I blushed. Jason, the drummer, is Jason, out of his mind, but a genius. To be honest, I can't think of a single bad thing to say about him, except his unpredictability can make him a little scary. Timothy frowned. Is it true he does a crap load of coke? I haven't seen it, I said. I'm pretty sure he quit coke, though. Right. Xander is funny as hell and quite sweet, I said, but he can come across as arrogant. Timothy nodded and took a couple swigs of beer. So what about the infamous Mike Solomon? He asked interestedly. I cringed. I was hoping he wouldn't ask about him. Does he really have a temper problem, as everyone says? Sort of. What does that mean? He can be hot-headed and competitive, I said, but it's protective. He looked thoughtful. So far, it doesn't sound like you're enjoying it. I am, honestly, I said, realizing I said mostly negative stuff. I mean, they are amazing musicians, geniuses, really. But basically, the lead singer is aggressive and controlling, the lead guitarist is pompous, the rhythm guitarist is a dick, the drummer is... Oh, you're making it sound so much worse than I meant it to, I cut across him. Besides, I just think of the reward at the end of it, which is a lot of contacts. He nodded. So none of them have, tried to have sex with you? He asked, frowning. What? I asked, alarmed. Have none of them come on to you? No, I said, trying to look as shocked as possible. I mean, they're not like that. They're professionals. He nodded thoughtfully.
Nikki!
Bella called from across the bar.
What the hell?
I drained the last of my wine and glanced down at my watch. 7:25. Damn it. I jumped up from the table. I need to go. I'll pay, Timothy offered. You go. Thank you, I said quickly and hurried over to Bella.
Didn't we say meet next to the stage?
Yes, I'm sorry, I apologized. He insisted.
You really need to get your phone charged. It's frustrating not to get a hold of you.
Promise first thing when we get back. Timothy walked past us. Have a good show, Arabella. He exited the bar without waiting for a response.
Why were you drinking with Timothy Carter?
He offered to show me the stage.
That prick doesn't have stage access.
But he's the assistant stage manager.
Absolutely not. He's an annoying as fuck journalist for NME.
Oh, piss, I said, letting my head fall into my hands.
Right, so you have a lot of explaining to do.
She dragged me to the nearest open table. Over drinks, I recalled everything that had happened the last few days, and she listened mostly with her mouth wide open.
Are you telling me you told Timothy that you're sleeping with Mike?
No, not that part, I cringed. But I did tell him a decent amount.
Nikki.
But I did lie about what I was doing. I told him I'm Andrew's assistant.
That's not going to look good either.
I know, but please don't say anything. Mike will flay me alive, or worse, I'll get kicked off the tour.
I won't say anything, but this could come back and bite you in the ass very nastily.
I've learnt the lesson, for sure.
Good. I can't believe you're on tour with the band and sleeping with Mike. What even is life?
I know, this is fate. That you're here as well. You have to come on tour with us, please.
I'm booked to dance on tour with the band, so it'd be very convenient. But will they just let me come on the bus?
I can beg and promise to do terribly humiliating things.
I'm sure you'll love it.
Seriously, though, I'll ask, and I'm sure they'll allow it. I mean, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
That it is. I'll see if I can wiggle on my side as well. Someone in the agency may know Andrew.
Good idea.
Though I'm not sure how much say Andrew has on what the band does with their bus.
True, but it's definitely worth trying.
Right. we should get going. I need to go warm up, and I can't drink too much before a show unless I want to take a nosedive off the stage.
I can just imagine you like, biggest friggin' gig, dancing for your favorite band, and you get drunk and you're like, whoa! Ruined.
So bad. That would be so bad.
No, but seriously, we wouldn't want that.
No, we wouldn't. Please join us next week for episode 7.
Hell fucking no, it's not foreplay. We're pretty proud of that one.
We are. We kind of love it.
If you've enjoyed what we do here, please consider sharing it with your friends and the family that you think it's appropriate to share it with. Please give us a rating. We'd so appreciate your support in whatever capacity you can give.
Yes, we love you. We want to keep sharing all of these stories with you, and we really hope you're enjoying it. So share and subscribe, people.
Woohoo!